The Discourses of Christ of the Last Days. Words on other topics. Excerpt. Everyone acknowledges that God holds sovereignty over human destiny, and that a person's entire life is in God's hands. But if you could truly experience how every big event in every time and period of a person's life is ruled and arranged by God, and not according to their own plans and arrangements. If you could see that people can't overcome their own destiny or any suffering they must face, when you're able to experience these things, this is having true faith. This makes it much more practical when you say, God holds sovereignty over human destiny, and everything is in God's hands. Experiencing God's sovereignty and His arrangements and orchestrations is a subtle thing. It's something you experience, and something you can't explain if you haven't gone through. But the more you experience, and the more you've been through, the better you can explain it. There's a saying that goes, by the age of 50, you comprehend your destiny. What does it mean to say that you comprehend your destiny? People in their 20s have just encountered the world. They're young and reckless, and they know nothing. And they can't comprehend that this human life is all in the hands of God. They keep wanting to struggle with their fate and keep thinking they have talent and expertise. And they keep striving on their own, trying to make a name for themselves and gain wealth and position. They keep trying even when they fail, always trying to get one more shot. Then they look back in their 50s and think, man, running around on Earth for these 30-something years and doing all of this scrambling about has surely been tough. Not one step of my getting married, building a career, and having kids has happened according to my own plans and calculations. It's all been fate. This is understanding your destiny. There's no more fighting it. Comprehending one's destiny by the age of 50 is actually just people reaching 50 and learning to make peace with fate after hitting so many setbacks. When people comprehend their destiny, they stop fighting it. As for things like what human life is about, what God's sovereignty over humanity is about, what exactly people should live for, and how they should live, do people completely understand them? Non-believers can't understand these things because they don't believe in God. And the most they can do is to accept their destiny and understand that it's useless to resist it. Then they see their children and grandchildren fighting destiny and say, let nature take its course. Each generation has its own blessings. Just let it be. They'll stop fighting destiny when they reach 50. This is how it goes from generation to generation. They all fight destiny until they're older and they can't any longer. They'll accept their destiny and learn their lesson. They'll no longer be so brash and arrogant, and they'll have settled down more. This is the most that non-believers can see, but can they understand the truth? They most certainly can't, because they don't believe in God, and they don't read His words. How could they understand the truth? Does knowing your destiny at the age of 50 mean that you understand the truth? People believe that man's fate is determined by heaven. Does this mean that they submit to the will of heaven? Just believing in this won't do. To know these things is simply to not struggle against fate, but it isn't yet understanding the truth. People must come before God and receive His salvation to understand the truth. They must receive the judgment of His words and receive the provision of the truth and life to understand the mystery of it all. Otherwise, people still won't know what human life is all about, why people live, and why they die, even if they live to 70, 80, or 100. People take this short walk on earth and live for several decades without figuring out what human life is about before it's over. At death, they feel discontented and continue to dwell on this and that, leaving this world with regret in the end and gaining nothing. Wouldn't it be sad if they were reborn in the next life and kept living like this? Each generation of people tragically comes and goes one after the other. The living send off the departed and then are sent off by the next generation. They go on like this in a cycle, living in a daze and understanding nothing. It's different for you who have accepted God's work in the last days. You've caught up to this precious and rare opportunity of God become flesh to save humanity in the last days. You can receive the judgment and chastisement of God's words and gain His personal shepherding and leading. You understand many mysteries and much truth, and you can fulfill your duty as created beings. Your corrupt dispositions can be cleansed and changed. You have gained so much, more than the saints of generations past. Is this not the most blessed thing? You are the most blessed of all. After reading God's words and experiencing years of their judgment and chastisement, you've gradually come to understand the objective of God's management of humanity and the mystery of His management and salvation of humanity. You've understood God's intentions and come to know His sovereignty. You're willing in your heart to submit to God, and you're able to submit to Him. Living feels secure and fulfilling. God has you live for God, and you live to do your duty as a created being. This is the meaningful way to live. If people live without accepting or understanding the truth and live only for the flesh, there's no value in that whatsoever. You are all striving toward the truth now, and you're living with more and more conscience and reason. You're more and more of what a human ought to be, and you understand the truth more and more. You know more and more to submit to God, and you can perform your duty as a created being and bear witness for God. Living like this will fill your heart with peace and joy, and this is the most meaningful life there is. This is a blessing that only you have gained out of all humanity. In this vast world and all of humankind, God has chosen only the few of you and had you born into this final age and into the nation of the great red dragon. You can receive His commission and do your duty, and you can expend for Him. You are God's favored and those He has chosen. Is this not the most blessed thing? This is such a blessed thing. There are people who believe in God but can't throw everything aside to do their duty, and this is regrettable. There are people who don't understand the truth. And even when they do their duty, it can only be said that they're laboring for God. They offer the strength that they have while striking deals with God in their hearts and hoping to gain blessings. When they one day understand the truth, they'll be able to settle down and fulfill their duty willingly. Your life now, and your living every day to bear witness to God and spread God's kingdom gospel, is the way to live that He approves of. To put it plainly, God allows you to live like this, and it's God who's given you this opportunity. God has given you this opportunity and had you live, doing your duty and expending for Him. And this is the most meaningful thing. You should feel proud and honored and cherish this opportunity. You're so young, and for you to do your duty, follow God, and bear witness to Him in the midst of disaster and in such hostile surroundings and conditions. What a rare chance this is. God's becoming flesh in the last days and expressing so much truth to completely save humanity, so that humanity may gain the truth and be purified, is the rarest opportunity. There isn't much time, and it's gone in the blink of an eye. You should take hold of this opportunity and gain all the truth that you should. This is the greatest blessing, and it's a blessing greater than that of all the saints of ages past.